Now let's bring in ABC News contributor and former commander of the U.S. forces there in Korea, Robert Abrams. General Abrams, thank you so much for being here tonight. You actually served at Fort Stewart where the shooting took place. Tell us more about your personal connection to the base, and you even know specifically about that facility where the shooting happened.
The main connection is I served as the commanding general, 3rd Infantry Division, commander of Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield from 2011 to 2013. And this particular area of the base, the home of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, the Spartan Brigade as they're referred to, is actually in a separate small compound just on the north side of the main cantonment area of Fort Stewart. So you actually have to go physically outside of the access control point of Fort Stewart. You drive about 1.5 miles or a mile or so on a state highway that cuts through the installation. And then you can enter into the 2nd Brigade footprint, which has its own access control point. That facility, the entire compound of the Spartan Brigade, was built in the late 2000s and was received by the Army in June 2011, shortly after I became the commanding general there.
I mean, this shocked all of us as we started getting those emails about it. And of course, now we know that the suspect reportedly used a personal handgun, which is also pretty shocking. What are the rules around possessions of firearms there by soldiers on a U.S. military base?
Well, first off, soldiers, based on the state that they live in, are absolutely authorized to own their own privately owned weapons. And if they live off the base, then they store them at their home. And then if this young soldier lives on the base, those personally owned weapons are stored inside our arms room, locked up behind lock and key, and they can have access to them for recreation shooting and whatever they see fit for. But as a rule, we do not allow soldiers to carry personal weapons on the installation. They can bring them on as long as they take them to an authorized shooting facility, like at a range, a sportsman's range, or they can transport them directly to an arms room if they want to have it secured.
General, correct me if I'm wrong here, but shootings on military bases are pretty rare, right?
Yeah, look, this is a tragedy, right? And our thoughts and prayers go to those soldiers and their families and the whole unit. This is devastating for the installation. But you got on the screen sort of the most notable ones. They're far and few between. And as a general rule, 99% of our service members follow the rules and don't do things like this.
And General, we now know the name of that shooter, that the shooting involved his co-workers, and that an Army investigation is now underway. What can you tell us about how an Army investigation like this even proceeds?
Well, at the time of the incident, right, it's handled just like any other civilian law enforcement activity would conduct an arrest. So there was an initial detention at the incident site. The soldier was put into handcuffs, put in a car, and taken back to a military police station where initial questioning probably occurred under military police investigators. And because of the severity of this case, I'd say the Criminal Investigation Division, also known as CID, they were probably quickly brought in, and then they were conducting their questioning as you would see at any other civilian violation of the law.
Just incredible insight tonight. General Robert Abrams, thank you so much for joining us here on Prime.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.